For the 6th season in a row, Walters is the official bar of the Nats Chat podcast, located across the street from the ballpark, just off South Capitol Street.
Hey, it's Ryan Reynolds here from Mint Mobile. Now, I was looking for fun ways to tell you that Mint's offer of unlimited premium wireless for $15 a month is back. So I thought it would be fun if we made $15 bills. But it turns out that's very illegal. So there goes my big idea for the commercial. Give it a try at mintmobile.com/switch.
Upfront payment of $45 for 3 months, $90 for 6 months, or $180 for 12-month plan required. $15 per month equivalent. Taxes and fees extra. Initial plan term only. Greater than 50 gigabytes may slow when network is busy. See terms.
Here comes manager John Schneider, though, out of the dugout to the mound. He has not made a signal to the bullpen.
Does Max have one more no in him?
Scherzer talking. Schneider covering his mouth, now stops talking, says yes. There's a couple of more things. And Max has given him the baseball. So that is it. Scherzer will depart, and everyone here at Nationals Park coming to their feet for 42-year-old Max Scherzer on his birthday. He departs with a wave to the crowd and a look all around Nationals Park. His 100th start in this ballpark, and who knows if there'll be another one.
It's good. It's special. Got a lot of great memories here in D.C. So the fans, wanted to show them respect as well because they were cheering the whole time, even when I was warming up. So, very appreciative of the fans here.
Now the pitch. Swinging a line drive right center field. That's going to be a base hit. Rounding third, Okamoto coming in to score. Heading for third is Arias. And on at first with his second hit of the game is Miles Straw. And the Blue Jays now lead by 2. It's Toronto 3 and Washington 1.
Yeah, look, I wasn't here when Max was, of course, but just seeing the ovation he got when he went out there, when he came off the mound, it's a ton of respect, and I'm sure it's deservedly so because of the type of person he was, the type of competitor he is, the way he competes, and what he's meant to this organization.
And welcome to Nats Chat. I'm Al Galdi, host of the Al Galdi podcast. I'm joined by Washington Nationals insider Mark Zuckerman of NatsJournal.com. He's at Nationals Park. So Monday was quite the day when it came to birthdays. Monday was the birthday of Nats center fielder Jacob Young. Monday was the birthday of Nats starting pitcher Foster Griffin. And Monday was the birthday of Toronto Blue Jays starting pitcher and former Nats ace Max Scherzer. And it just so happened that he pitched at the Nats in his return from the 15-day injured list. Now, he did not last for long in terms of innings, though he did throw a lot of pitches. 1 run in 2 2/3 innings on 75 pitches, but the Nats did lose. 3-2 loss to the Blue Jays at Nationals Park on Monday evening in Game 1 of a 3-game series. Each of the Nats' last 3 losses now has been a 1-run loss. The Nats in MLB's 2026 regular season now are 54 and 53 with a run differential of plus 29, but still are 1 game out regarding the National League's third of 3 wildcard spots. The Arizona Diamondbacks lost at the Pittsburgh Pirates 3-2 in 10 innings on Monday evening. The Pirates and Diamondbacks now are tied for that third NL wildcard spot. The Blue Jays now are 49 and 58 with a run differential of minus 61. Nice to have you with us. This installment of Nats Chat is brought to us by the nonprofit Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund. Its annual raffle drawing for 3 amazing electric car prizes is this Thursday at 6 p.m. Tired of $4 a gallon for gas? Hurry and buy tickets while they last at evraffle.org. That's evraffle.org. Proceeds help CCAN Action Fund fight for cleaner air in the DMV. Again, the website is evraffle.org. So there are not enough good things that can be said about Max Scherzer's time with the Nats, right? 2 Cy Young Awards, a 2019 World Series title, 2 National League East titles, 3 playoff appearances. He, over 6+ regular seasons with the Nats, accumulated 39.1 wins above replacement per Baseball Reference. He is a slam dunk member of the National Baseball Hall of Fame. We all get that. But he is a pitcher on his last legs, and you certainly got that sense watching him in this game. It's a shame that the Nats did lose the game. We see where Max is at in his career. But I tell you what, Mark, in so many ways, the moment of the game was the ovation that Scherzer got as he walked off the field. And he's walking off the field in that classic Scherzer intense way. And you're wondering, is he going to acknowledge the ovation? Is he going to acknowledge the crowd? And sure enough, he did.
Scherzer will depart, and everyone here at Nationals Park coming to their feet 32-year-old Max Scherzer on his birthday. He departs with a wave to the crowd and a look all around Nationals Park.
And that was a really cool moment at Nationals Park on Monday evening.
Yeah, look, a comeback win would have been fantastic and it would have overshadowed everything else. But short of that, I agree. This night was about Max Scherzer, for better or worse, depending on how you want to look at that. He had, I think, earmarked this game for a little while. Once he realized that he was close to being healthy, ready to come off the IL, and he knew that it would line up and be on his birthday, by the way, his 42nd birthday, I think he was really motivated to pitch here for this game. And while he was all business leading up to it, and like you could see, he takes the mound in the bottom of the first, and the crowd's already giving him an ovation. He's just like fidgeting out there waiting to start his warm-ups. And he kind of reluctantly just sort of tipped his cap to them and got down to business. But once that last out was recorded, and it was a doozy of an out, a 12-pitch strikeout of Dalen Lyle, and we'll get into that at bat specifically if you want. Once that was done, he gave a look to the dugout as if to say to the Blue Jays manager, John Schneider, yeah, that's all I got tonight. 75 pitches, I've used up everything I've got. Come and get me. And as he walked off, I think he fully understood and appreciated what that moment was, saluting the fans here. I went to his post-game press conference. He was very appreciative of that.
The way it unfolded, after that last rehab start, I knew I was in line to be able to get to here. I thought it was going to be too special to miss out, so I definitely wanted to have this all happen. Pitching my birthday, pitch back here.
There were Blue Jay fans as well behind the third base dugout. They were all standing and applauding him. It's not the first time he's been here. He pitched 3 times for the Mets as a visitor, but it's the first time in a while, and you never know how it's all going to work out. It may have been the last time he ever pitches here. And so I do think it had some special meaning for him, and I was glad. I know the bottom line didn't look great for him, but I was glad that he acquitted himself well for where he is at this point, coming off the IL. He gutted his way through that. This was not peak Max Scherzer. This is just find a way to get the job done. And he did that for them at the Nats' expense. But for one night, I think it was okay to celebrate that as opposed to what the home team did.
So as he turned 42, came off the 15-day injured list. He'd been on that since June 17th, retroactive to June 14th due to back spasms. As we talked about on the previous episode of the podcast, Max Scherzer, since being traded by the Nats 5 years ago now, wow, has been hurt a good bit. The durability of Max Scherzer really has evaporated as he has gotten older. And that's what happens. I mean, in this era of strict PED testing and MLB, guys age properly now. And this is what happens as you get older and your body starts to fail you. Max Scherzer in this game, 1 run, 2 2/3 innings, 75 pitches, 44 strikes, 31 balls. The Nats fouling off a ton of Scherzer's pitches. You mentioned the Dalen Lyle plate appearance. So that was the final batter who Scherzer faced. Lyle fouled off 7 pitches during what ended up being a 12-pitch swinging strikeout. Scherzer recorded 4 strikeouts, also issued 3 walks, gave up 4 hits, which were a double and 3 singles. I think the 2 things that really stood out in terms of wowing you, if you are well familiar with his time with the Nats, number one, the fact that he essentially tapped out of the game, which is not something we're used to seeing from Max Scherzer. And I don't say that in an insulting way, okay? Max Scherzer is like the ultimate warrior, but when do you ever remember Max Scherzer tapping out of a game? But he did that. He recognizes where he's at in his career. And the other thing is the Nats fouling off all of these pitches. Max Scherzer was such a swing and miss guy when he was here, right? And he was not generating swings and misses like we know he used to. Although he did have 4 strikeouts, but the Nats fouled off a ton of pitches. That was not peak Scherzer. Again, it's understandable, but it just was so interesting to see that off how we were so spoiled by him during his time with Washington.
Of course, if you, for some reason, had not seen him pitch since the last time he was in a Nats uniform, you probably didn't recognize this guy outside of the intensity that he brought to the mound. He didn't get through this game on stuff. He got through this game on guts and guile. He threw the kitchen sink at Dalen Lyle in that final at bat. 12 pitches. Lyle was fouling everything off. Now, he wasn't making great contact, so it's not like he's just missing a lot of those, but clearly Scherzer didn't have the good stuff to, get swings and misses in the zone. He finally gets to pitch 12 and he throws off a 3-2 curveball and he got him. And like I said, you could tell he knew that was it. He expended everything he had to get through that at bat. Now, look, it's his first start off the IL, 75 pitches. That's not, unusual. But This is not the Max Scherzer that we used to know and love here. He knows it. He is the ultimate competitor. He is going to keep going as long as his body will allow him. The last few years, his body has really limited what he can do. I mean, he's only made a handful of starts for the Blue Jays this year. He went through all kinds of stuff with them last year. Now, he did make it back for the postseason and had his moment in the World Series, and you thought maybe that's it. Maybe he rides off into the sunset. And nope, that's not who Max is. As long as he still has an arm that works and the competitive drive to do this, he's going to keep doing it. He came within a couple of strikeouts in this game of reaching Walter Johnson for 10th all-time on the list. He's also got his longtime teammate and competitor, Justin Verlander, a few spots ahead of that. Knowing Max, I think he wants to keep going as long as he can and reach and surpass Verlander as well. We'll see how it goes from here, if the body can hold up or not. But the way he talked about it after this one,
I thought my fastball was good today. Hazel here is talking about changeup, but the changeup's only as good as the fastball. So, I felt like I was doing very good things with the fastball today as well, and it was jumping on him. So they allowed the other pitches to work well.
He's not done. He viewed this as a big step forward for him in coming back from multiple injuries he's dealt with this year, and he's already looking forward to whenever the next one's going to be.
The National Baseball Hall of Fame decides which team logo appears on the cap of a player on his plaque, although the Hall of Fame does consult with the inductee. So it's not just like the Hall of Fame tells the player what he's going to get, but the Hall of Fame does make the final decision. When Max Scherzer is inducted into the Baseball Hall of Fame, do you think he will go in with a Nationals logo on the cap, or do you think he might get one of those like generic logos because he has pitched for so many different teams?
I've thought a lot about this since he left DC and thinking, is there any chance that he could go in with another team's logo? He moved around so much. Yes, he won a World Series with Texas, but he wasn't there for long. Didn't have success in New York. Hasn't really pitched enough in Toronto for that. You go back, and yes, Detroit is where he really took off in his career, but there's no doubt that his best years were here in DC. There's no question about that. So when the time comes, I'm confident in saying that it will either be a curly W on his cap or it will be no logo on the cap. I cannot see any other team superseding the Nationals. I want to believe that it will be a curly W. You're talking about winning his first World Series here, multiple Cy Youngs, multiple no-hitters, 20 strikeout game. I know this organization still has a special place in his heart, even though the people who run this organization are very different from who he had when he was here. There's a reason they wait 5 years. After you retire, it allows for a lot of things to simmer down and to really have a full appreciation of a player's career. I want to believe that it is going to be a Nationals logo on that cap because I know he's been a hired gun here for the latter part of his career, and he's had some success. But I think when it's all said and done, and you ask the average baseball fan, hey, who do you associate Max Scherzer with? I think they're going to say the Nationals. So I would like to believe that it will be the curly W on his plaque, and that would make him the first Nationals player truly inducted into the Hall of Fame.
I mean, if it's not the Nats, I don't know how you go with another team. I would think it's Nats, or I guess the generic thing is no logo. Is that correct?
Yeah, and there's a few guys in recent years who've gone that route. And I understand nobody wants to offend all the teams they played for. But like I said, it's pretty clear. Like, if there was a close call between the Nats and the Tigers, or the Nats and the Mets, or the Rangers, or I could get that. But it's so clear that I know that the total length, when it's all said and done, it may not be a majority of his games for the Nats. I haven't ever actually looked at that. I don't think it'll be less than 50%, I believe, of his starts will have been for the Nats. But so clearly, the majority of his success, the best years of his career, the iconic moments that are going to show on all those video highlights leading up to his Hall of Fame induction, most of those are going to be Nationals highlights. So I do believe that there's a good chance that it is going to be the Nationals.
It's pretty comical how adventurous these scenarios with the Hall of Fame plaques can be. I don't know if you remember this. Andre Dawson, several years ago, wrote a letter to the National Baseball Hall of Fame asking that his Hall of Fame plaque cap be changed from the Montreal Expos to the Chicago Cubs. So you never quite know what will come when it comes to the plaque cap for an inductee. But we know that Max Scherzer will be inducted into the National Baseball Hall of Fame, and justifiably so. And if this was his final appearance at Nationals Park, great to see him get the ovation that he got.
Now Scherzer peers in, has the sign from Suzuki, starts the wind, the kick and the pitch. He struck him out. He struck him out on a slider, and the inning is over. Gurriel goes down on strikes for the first time in 46 postseason at bats, and the inning is over.
This installment of Nats Chat is brought to us by our friends at the Chesapeake Climate Action Network, Action Fund, one of the best nonprofits fighting for a greener environment in the DMV. Their annual raffle drawing for 3 amazing electric car prizes is this Thursday at 6 p.m. Tired of $4 a gallon for gas? Hurry and buy tickets while they last at evraffle.org. That's evraffle.org. All proceeds help CCAN Action Fund fight for cleaner air in the DMV. Here are 3 reasons you should visit the website evraffle.org and grab a raffle ticket today. Again, evraffle.org. Number 1, the prize options are amazing. First prize winner will choose their own luxury Rivian, Lucid, or Porsche EV worth up to $115,000. Second place will choose between the Rivian R2, Volkswagen ID Buzz, or a Hyundai Ioniq 5. And the third prize winner gets the amazing Chevy Bolt. Reason number 2, each ticket gets you 3 chances to win an EV, which means your odds are incredible. Tickets are just $200 and a limited number will be sold. They even cover taxes and fees on the prizes. And reason number 3, CCAN Action Fund fights for affordable clean energy nationwide. 3 lucky people are going to win, and you could be one of them. Get your ticket today at www.evraffle.org. That's evraffle.org, or check out the link in today's show notes.
On the under $3 menu at McDonald's, a McChicken is $2. Because when you're craving a McChicken, you deserve a McChicken. And now that McChicken is just $2 with McValue.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
And the pitch on the way to Andres. Swing, it's launched down the left field line toward the corner. If it's fair, it's gone. And it is fair. Way back into section 106. A first pitch. Pinch hit home run for Andres Chaparro. What a blast that was. It's now a 3-2 Blue Jays lead. Chaparro continues his hot hitting with home run number 5. The only question, fair or foul? Not almost to the top of the section in 106.
So the Nats in this game did what they did against Max Scherzer, and then the Nats struggled big time against the Blue Jays bullpen. 6 Blue Jays relievers combined to allow 1 run in 6th and 3rd innings with 9 strikeouts versus 1 walk. Blue Jays closer Louis Varland generated a swinging strikeout of Luis Garcia Jr. with runners on 1st and 2nd to end the game. I know that the Nats bullpen lately has been better, but of course it remains such a concern. And if you're a Nats fan, how did you watch these Blue Jays relievers and not have extreme envy and say, wow, that's what a good bullpen looks like? That's how it's supposed to go. 6 Blue Jays relievers, 1 run, 6th and 3rd innings, 9 strikeouts, 1 walk, had their way with this great Nats offense.
As I tweeted during the game, I don't know what the asking price is going to be, but if I'm Paul Taboni, I'm on the phone with the Blue Jays ASAP, finding out what would it take to get a couple of these relievers, maybe not even just one, but multiple ones. It's been such a weird season for Toronto. All the injuries they had, they're not making the playoffs. They're not going to have a shot at making it back to the World Series. I don't know if that means that they're in full-scale sell mode or if they're just trying to get through the rest of this year and regroup and go after it again in 2027. But if you're Paul Taboni, I think you have to at least place the call, because I saw multiple guys pitching in this game that I said to myself, I would take him over almost anybody currently in the Nats bullpen. And they don't have to be like closers. They don't have to be lights out, lockdown guys. If only the Nats Varland was as good as the Blue Jays Varland, by the way. They're brothers, and Lewis has been a whole lot better than Gus was while he was up here. But Hoffman, Rogers, their Rule 5 pick Miles was really good. The left-hander Fluharty, You can make a case for almost any of them. Again, I don't know what the asking price is, but I'd sure be asking about it in these final days leading up to the trade deadline. And I do believe Taboni is actively looking for relievers wherever he can try to find them. There aren't that many true sellers out there. If the Blue Jays are, pick up the phone. I'm willing to deal with these guys right now.
You ever see the movie Twins with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito? That's Louis Varland and Gus Varland, and that's all I got to say about that. But yeah, that Blue Jays bullpen was impressive. The Nats for the game, 2 runs, 8 hits, which were a home run, 2 doubles, and 5 singles. Just 2 for 10 with runners in scoring position, 13 strikeouts. The Nats did draw 4 walks. The Nats home run was by Andres Chaparro. He came off the bench to pinch hit and serve as the Nats DH. 1 for 2 with a solo homer. Chaparro in the Nats 1-run 5th. A pinch went out first pitch solo homer to left field to cut the Nats deficit to 3-2. We've sung the praises of Nats shortstop C.J. Abrams for what he has done in this month of July. But how about the month of July that Andres Chaparro is having? 5 home runs, a slugging percentage of .871. He is killing it in this month of July. C.J. Abrams, he was the Nats starting shortstop at number 4 batter, 0 for 2, 2 walks, 2 for 2 on 2 uncontested stolen bases. And I primarily bring him up because he on Monday afternoon was named National League Player of the Week for games played for the previous Monday through this past Sunday. Very nice to see that. Luis Garcia Jr. did strike out there to end the game, but he is the Nats starting first baseman and number 2 batter, 2 for 5 RBI double and a single. Garcia in the Nats 1-run second, 2-out RBI double to right field off the outfield wall for a 1-0 Nats lead. But beyond that, just not a ton happening for the Nats offensively in this game. James Wood is the Nats starting right fielder and number 1 batter, 1 for 3 with a single and a couple of walks. Also had a stolen base. I mean, the Nats put some guys on base, but just were not able to do much in this game. Had opportunities, but again, that Blue Jays bullpen really was just locked down as this game went on.
Yeah, really their chances came against Scherzer. All 3 innings, they had runners in scoring position, and they got 1 across. But that was it. And a lot of those outs with runners in scoring position were on strikeouts. And, not what you want to have there. I mean, Jose Tena, the number 3 hitter, striking out in the first inning, grounding out to the mound in the second inning, and then getting replaced by Chaparro along the way. You had Dylan Cruz striking out in his first 2 at-bats, both with runners in scoring position. You had Dalen Lyle. We talked about the 12-pitch at-bat. He also grounded out in the first inning to end that inning with the bases loaded. So there were opportunities earlier. They could have changed the whole narrative with Scherzer and of the game in general. And after that, there just wasn't much. I will say that the Garcia at bat in the 9th against Varland, 2 on, 2 out, he got a fastball up and over the plate. And it's 100 miles an hour. But if anybody on this team can do damage on that, it's Luis Garcia. That's his pitch. Doesn't matter how hard it is. If it's a fastball and it's up in the zone, that's the pitch that he usually hits. And so I was kind of surprised that he didn't even make contact on it. Credit to Varland for executing that one. I thought as that inning was playing out that we were finally going to get our first walk-off win of the year for the Nationals, and alas, it wasn't to be.
No, it was not. But man, this game was tailor-made for that. This game was so set up for that. And obviously that did not happen. The Nats for this game went with an opener, relief pitcher Eddie Yean. He allowed 2 runs in 2 and 1/3 innings. He tossed 2 perfect innings on just 11 pitches. Eddie Yean was rolling, but he in the top of the 3rd allowed 2 runs. So he gave up a 1-out first pitch solo homer by Luis Urias to center field to tie the game at 1. The homer going a projected 416 feet per Statcast. Yean then gave up a 1-out double by Miles Straw to left field on a 1-2 pitch, and then gave up a 1-out RBI double by Ernie Clement off the third base bag and into left field for a 2-1 Blue Jays lead. Then starting pitcher Andrew Alvarez came into the game as the Nats bulk pitcher. He allowed 1 run in 4 and 1/3 innings, despite giving up 4 hits, despite issuing 3 walks, and despite throwing 80 pitches, 45 strikes, 35 balls. The 4 hits that he gave up were a double and 3 singles. He recorded 3 strikeouts. So he put a lot of guys on base, but ultimately the run prevention was there. And that really has been the story for Andrew Alvarez. You look at his stats at the major league level in this regular season, 15 games, including 7 starts, ERA 4.06, whip 1.51. The ERA really isn't that bad, but the whip is super high. But here's what he also is doing: not giving up home runs. Consider this, a mere 2 home runs allowed in 57 and 2/3 innings. The Nats put this stat out during the game. Andrew Alvarez now has pitched 40 consecutive innings without allowing a home run on a pitching staff that has given up so many homers. That Andrew Alvarez has been so good at avoiding the homer really is a credit to him. But the Nats late night on Monday night did announce having optioned Alvarez to AAA Rochester. And that, of course, begs the question, well, what will be the corresponding roster move? And might that be the activation of Jake Irvin from the 60-day injured list? So a lot to take in with what went down with Eddie Yean and Andrew Alvarez. But just with that roster move, do you think the corresponding move will be Jake Irvin?
Maybe not immediately. I could see a move for a reliever first, unless they're going to shake up the whole rotation plan. You have Cade Cavalli scheduled for Tuesday. I can't imagine they're going to mess around with that. They've announced Zach Littell as Wednesday's starter. Maybe you would fiddle around with that and wait till then, or maybe we just see Jake Irvin pitching in Atlanta this weekend. So I could see a temporary move first to bring up another reliever. The other one to keep in mind here, and this is going to be tricky, but Trevor Williams' 30 days on rehab are just about up as well. And they have to make a decision. And that either means activating him or saying, no, he's not healthy yet. And so we need to pull him off the rehab assignment, put him back on the IL and delay this. Or he's healthy and they decide we don't have a spot for you and thanks for your service. One way or another, they're going to have to make a decision on him here soon. So there could be a couple things coming up. I would guess that we would either see a new reliever or maybe even Williams activated for the bullpen in the short term. And then Irvin coming up in a couple days to start. But let's see where this goes. Clearly, there are some changes here coming. And as far as Alvarez is concerned, I think we all kind of thought that there would be a chance they'd move him to the bullpen to be a long left-handed reliever and maybe, piggyback one of the right-handed guys who doesn't go very far. And I wonder if the way he pitched in this game, I know the bottom line, 1 run was good, but you outlined it. All the pitches, all the walks, falling behind hitters. This isn't the first time that that's been the case with him. I wonder if they made that decision in game to say he needs to go work on some stuff down there. He's not the guy for us right now in a pennant race that we can trust as a starter or as a reliever. And maybe they made a different move than they maybe originally intended to make after this game.
That is interesting. If you're Paul Taboni, as you watch these games, do your decisions get altered? Or are you overly influenced by what happens in games? The Nats are so process-oriented now, you would think that what happens in a given game doesn't alter the process. But of course, Paul Taboni, at the end of the day, is a human being, and perhaps he can be swayed by what he sees in a given game. What about Eddie Yean? He was cruising through those first 2 innings, and then things really came apart for him in that top of the third.
I think he might have been a victim of how efficient he was. I don't know for sure what Blake Butera's plan was as far as how far to take him. But when he got through the first 2 innings on 11 pitches, 6 batters, 6 outs, 11 pitches, and I think he got the next batter on the first pitch as well to start the third. So they're probably not thinking in terms of 3 ups for him, bringing him back out for a third inning. But how are you going to pull him on 11 pitches? Especially the Blue Jays are a very right-handed lineup, and that's why he opened for Alvarez. This is backwards from what they've normally done with the left-handed opener for the right-handed bulk guy. The Blue Jays are so right-handed heavy that they felt like, let's use a right-handed opener and see how far he can go. So if he throws more pitches and still gets the first 6 outs, they might just pull him right there. But at 11 pitches, how are you going to pull him at that point? Because if Alvarez comes in, gives up a couple bombs to the righties, you're saying, what are you doing? Why are you pulling the guy who was dominating? I wonder if it was more about the time's up for a guy who's a reliever, typically not a starter, as opposed to the actual number of pitches. But I can't blame him for putting them back out there. He looked so good and was getting those outs so quickly that there wasn't really a valid reason to pull him at that point.
I was wondering if you might go 4 innings. I mean, you go 2 innings on 11 pitches, what are we looking at here in terms of the opener outing? But unfortunately, things did not go so well in that 3rd inning. I do like what we're seeing, though, from Eddie Yean. I think the Nats may have found something here. You try all these different relievers. You think at some point you're going to stumble into something good or someone good. And maybe the Nats have that in Eddie Yean. I think there's a lot to like. I think he, more often than not, has been impressive when we've seen him pitch for the Nats so far.
Yeah, I agree. I think I said it the other night. Like he just kind of looks like he's got like the part. Big, strong guy, very aggressive, good stuff. Doesn't seem to be fazed by anything yet. He'll throw multiple innings, as we've seen. He came back a couple days later. He'll pitch every day if you need it. Yes, he needs some experience, of course, at this level. And we don't know how he does in a truly high-pressure spot. But I think he's already proven himself that he's worthy of a look in that regard. And yeah, right now, you are giving opportunities to anybody who shows anything that suggests they can do it. Unlike some of the others we've seen up here, he does kind of have that look about him that says this guy's going to be a big-time late-inning reliever.
It was you who said that he reminds you of
Fernando Rodney.
Because the name I thought of was Jose Valverde, because Jose Valverde has one of the greatest nicknames ever, Papa Grande. I feel like that nickname would fit Eddie Yean so well. Papa Grande. He's got a Papa Grande kind of look to him, but Eddie Yean doing some good things here.
On the under $3 menu at McDonald's, the sausage burrito is $2. So dip, drizzle, or douse to your heart's desire. Because no matter how you sauce your sausage burrito, it's still just $2 with McValue.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.
Nunez at second, Wood at first, 3-2 Blue Jays. The set for Varland. He deals. Swing and a miss. He struck him out at 100 miles per hour. No doubt about that. The game over as Varland had to strike him out twice to end it. Varland gets his 22nd save of the year, and the Nationals fall a run short, 3-2 here at Nationals Park.
The two pitchers who the Nats used in this game beyond the opener and the bulk man, Paxton Schultz and Carson Palmquist. Paxton Schultz faced 4 batters, got 3 outs. The Nats on Monday afternoon announced having recalled Schultz from AAA Rochester and having designated relief pitcher Matt Crook for assignment. So the bullpen maneuvering continues, but Paxton Schultz is back, and he did do well in this game. And Carson Palmquist did well in this game, 1 1/3 perfect innings. I'm going to cross my fingers as I say this, but, since the Nats had that horrendous loss at the Athletics in Game 2 out of the All-Star break, the 15-1 loss on July 18th, we actually have seen relief pitchers do a pretty good job, all things considered. Not perfect, okay? There have been some scares for sure, but the bullpen has kind of calmed down a little bit. It has settled down off the nightmare that we had in that 3-game sweep against the New York Yankees at Nationals Park going into the break. I feel like the bullpen, again, since the 15-1 loss at the Athletics, actually has been halfway decent over these last few weeks.
Yeah, and I think the key is, and there have only been a few of them, but the close games that they did hold a lead in Colorado and then against Arizona over the weekend, they shut it down. You had Crook with the disaster starting of the top of the 9th on Sunday, and Beater had to finish it out for him. But for the most part, they have taken those high leverage spots that were such a nightmare going into the All-Star break, and they've been able to handle it with relatively little drama. And that's a good sign. I don't want to read too much into any of it because we've seen how quickly these things can change, and especially once they get through this series and they go on the road for 4 games in Atlanta and 4 games in Philadelphia. Huge test for this bullpen. If they can put themselves in a position to win those games, that's fantastic. But then it ultimately is going to come down to whether whatever set of relievers Blake Butera decides to go with at the end of games. And who knows, maybe by then there are some new faces acquired in trades before the deadline. I could very much see the story of that road trip being the bullpen, good or bad.
That is going to be a wild road trip. 4 games at the Atlanta Braves, 4 games at the Philadelphia Phillies, and like right in the middle of the trip is Monday, August 3rd, trade deadline day. So a lot figures to be happening over the course of that trip. So we have Game 2 for the Nats against the Blue Jays at Nationals Park Tuesday evening at 6:45. The Nats have listed Cade Cavalli as their probable starting pitcher for the game. You wonder if this series might mirror the series against the Arizona Diamondbacks. Nats in that series lost Game 1, came back to win Games 2 and 3, won Game 2 on the back of a quality starting pitcher in Foster Griffin. Here you have Cade Cavalli going in Game 2 of this series. I earlier mentioned the big series going on between the Diamondbacks and the Pirates. If you're a Nats fan, who should you be rooting for in that series, or does it not matter necessarily who wins that series?
Maybe that's a route for somebody to win 2 out of 3, but neither team to sweep. I guess you want to keep it as close as you can, as opposed to one team running away with it. I think right now you want it bunched up tight, which is what it is, because now you have those two teams are tied, and then the Nats and the Cardinals are each one game back, I believe, as we tape this. I know it might be nice to feel like you're dropping one team out of the race, but you don't want anybody to create too much of a cushion that they're out in front. So I guess I would say, what the Pirates won that first game, you should root for them to split the next two so that somebody wins two, somebody wins one. As I pointed out the other day, they won the season series from Arizona. So in theory, if you really want to get technical, you're rooting for them. You'd rather end up tied with the Diamondbacks at the end of the season than the Pirates. So maybe root for that to end up happening. But, I think we're getting greedy at that point. If you're looking at that microscopic of a difference, stay in the race, keep it as close as you can. And how about, win at least 2 out of 3 against the Blue Jays, who are not a good team this year.
This installment of Nats Chat brought to us by the nonprofit Chesapeake Climate Action Network Action Fund. Its annual raffle drawing for 3 amazing electric cars is this Thursday at 6 p.m. Tired of $4 for a gallon of gas? Hurry and buy tickets while they last at evraffle.org. That's evraffle.org. Proceeds help CCAN Action Fund fight for cleaner air in the DMV. Again, the website is evraffle.org. All Nationals radio highlights on Nats Chat, courtesy of 106.7 The Fan. For Mark Zuckerman, I'm Al Galdi. Thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time on the Nats Chat podcast.
2-2 count on Lau. 1 out. Clark's pitch. Line drive. Off the glove of the first baseman, Vargas. Walk it off. Raise the Jolly Roger. Pirates win it in 10. And they are tied with the Diamondbacks for the 3rd wild card spot in the National League.
Now at McDonald's, wake up to a $4 breakfast meal deal. Wake up to a sausage McMuffin or sausage biscuit, to hash browns, and wake up to a hot coffee. Get your $4 breakfast meal deal.
Limited time only. Prices and participation may vary. Prices may be higher for delivery.